It was supposed to be just another experiment. A simple test of a machine that was never meant to work, at least not yet. But everything changed the moment the portal opened, a swirling distortion of light and energy forming in the center of the lab, pulling everything toward it with an invisible force, and standing right in front of it was Aram, a scientist who had spent years trying to prove that time travel was possible. Not for fame, not for power, but for one simple reason: to see the future, to understand what was coming, to know if humanity would survive. But he never expected it to actually work, and he definitely never expected what would happen next. The machine malfunctioned, alarms blaring, systems failing, and before he could react, the force pulled him in, dragging him through the portal, through something that felt like reality itself was breaking apart, twisting, collapsing, and then silence. When he opened his eyes, everything was different. The air felt heavy. The sky above him was no longer blue but dark, filled with strange glowing patterns. The buildings around him were not the ones he knew. They were taller, sharper, almost alien in design, as if they had been built by something that didn't think like humans. At first, he thought he had made a mistake, that he had landed somewhere else, somewhere unfamiliar. But then he saw it, a broken sign, half buried under debris, showing the name of his city, the place he had lived his entire life, and that's when the realization hit him. He wasn't in another place. He was in the future. But something was terribly wrong. The streets were empty, silent, not abandoned, but controlled, as if something was watching. And then he saw them, tall figures moving in the distance, their bodies unlike anything human, their movements precise, calculated, their presence dominating everything around them, aliens, real, living, controlling the world as if it belonged to them. Aram hid, his heart racing, trying to understand what had happened, how the world had changed so drastically, where were the humans, what had gone wrong. And as he moved through the ruins of what used to be his home, he found the answer: humans were still there. But not as rulers, not even as equals. They were survivors, hiding, running, living in fear of the beings that now controlled the planet. He encountered a group of them, small, weak, desperate, and when they saw him, they were shocked, not just because he was a stranger, but because of something else, something he didn't understand at first, until one of them spoke, asking him a question that changed everything. "How did you get here before the fall?" They explained to him what had happened years after his time. Signals were detected, strange transmissions from deep space, ignored at first, dismissed as noise until it was too late. The invasion didn't come with war, it came with control. Systems shut down, communications lost, governments collapsed, and within weeks, the aliens had taken over, not by force alone, but by understanding humanity better than humans understood themselves. They knew how to break them, how to control them, how to replace them. Aram realized this was not just the future. It was the end of humanity as he knew it, but something else caught his attention, something even more disturbing. The aliens weren't just ruling. They were changing the planet, reshaping it, turning Earth into something else, something that was no longer meant for humans. And that's when he understood this wasn't just an invasion, it was a transformation. Earth was being converted into an alien world, and humans were slowly being erased from it. Aram knew he couldn't stay, that he had to go back, to warn the past, to stop this from ever happening. But there was a problem. The portal was gone, the machine was gone. Everything that had brought him here no longer existed, or at least not in a form he could use. But then he discovered something hidden deep within the ruins of what used to be a research facility, a version of the same machine, older, damaged, but still there, as if someone in the future had tried to do the same thing, go back, change the past, stop the invasion, but had failed. And that meant one thing: he might be the last chance, the last opportunity to fix everything. But the aliens were not unaware. They had detected him. Something about him didn't belong in this time, and they knew it. They began searching, hunting, tracking him across the broken world, forcing him to move faster, to take risks, to push beyond his limits. And as he worked to repair the machine, to reopen the portal, he began to realize something even more terrifying. The invasion was not random. It was planned, calculated, and worst of all, it was inevitable. Everything he had seen, everything that had happened, was part of a timeline that had already been set in motion, and changing it would not be easy. It might not even be possible, but he refused to accept that. He refused to believe that humanity's fate was already decided. And so, in one final attempt, with the aliens closing in, with time running out, he activated the machine. The portal began to form, unstable, dangerous, but real, his only chance to return, to fix everything, to stop the future he had seen from becoming reality. But just as he was about to step through, something happened, something that changed everything. One of the aliens stepped forward, not attacking, not stopping him, but speaking, not with words, but directly into his mind, showing him something, a vision, a truth he had Not considered, the future he had seen was not just destruction. It was evolution. Humanity had not been destroyed. It had been changed, merged, transformed into something new, something beyond what it once was, and the aliens were not just invaders, they were the next step, the next phase, and Aram's actions, his attempt to stop it, could erase that future completely, could destroy what humanity was meant to become. And in that moment, standing between the past and the future, between what was and what could be, Aram had a choice: to go back and stop everything, to save humanity as it was, or to let the future happen, to allow humanity to become something more, something different, something unknown. And with the portal collapsing, with no time left to think, he made his decision, stepping forward into the light, not knowing if he was saving the world, or destroying its only chance at survival. And as the portal closed behind him, one truth remained uncertain: had he changed the future, or had he just ensured it would happen exactly the way it was meant to?